All right, try next one.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the Knicks are struggling, losing 11 of their last 13 games while making all the wrong kinds of headlines. Things have gotten so bad that Carmelo Anthony met with Phil Jackson today to discuss Melo's future with the team. And while he reportedly told Phil he wasn't ready to waive his no-trade clause, my question for you guys is this. Should Melo waive his no-trade clause?
If he wants to win, I guess he should, because he's not going to win in New York right now. I mean, the situation has been the same year in, year out for the last few years. Promising season this year, got off to a good start, and now once again, things are just falling apart. To see them make the leap from where they are right now to competing for a championship, while Melo, he's 32 now, he's going to be 33 next season, I just don't see it happening. But if he wants to stay in New York, it's totally his prerogative. It's in his contract that he can do that, but he's just not going to win a championship if he does that.
Yeah, if I'm Melo and I was staying in New York, then yeah, I'm not waiving that no-trade clause. At the same time, you're right. This is a win-now team. They're not winning now.
No.
So Carmelo Anthony going past his prime, you know, and they are going to try and surround him with other parts come free agency this offseason. How is that going to be any better than it currently is? It's not. That being said, I think he could have handled this situation better. I don't think responding to an article written by Phil Jackson's friend is needed to be responded to at all by Carmelo Anthony in the media. Why would you do that? It doesn't make sense. That's a no-win situation.
Well, that article probably doesn't need to be written in the first place.
Yeah.
If you believe that Phil Jackson and Charlie Rosen are obviously still almost connected at the hip, and that Charlie's writing through Phil in a way, and maybe that's what's happening.
I don't know if he has a ghostwriter about his thoughts.
Well,
I mean, how do we know that?
He's done it in the past.
How does Carmelo Anthony know that? What's the point of what is the benefit of talking about it?
The point would be for Phil Jackson to anger Melo enough through this article of calling him out and saying he's washed up that he would waive his no-trade clause, and then you could ultimately trade him. That would be the point. Now, whether or not that's truthful or not, and whether Phil Jackson, again, is really connected there to Charlie Rosen, who wrote that in that fan rag column, I don't know. But that, to me, is a classic Zen master, long con, 3 steps ahead type of move, whether you truly even believe that, whether even Phil Jackson even cares, because we haven't heard from Phil Jackson in any of this. Luckily, you know, Melo and Phil Jackson have reportedly at least sat down and talked. But you're right, Melo just seems happy that he wants to live and play basketball in New York, and maybe he doesn't ultimately really care right now about trying to win a championship. He's got 3 gold medals and a college championship, and maybe he's content with that.
He loses a lot of his leverage if he does waive that no-trade clause as well, because let's say Phil has a trade worked out behind the scenes and he says, look, you can go to this team if you want, but you have to waive your no-trade clause to do it. Then at least Melo has the advantage to say, well, no, I'm not doing it for that, but if you find me the right situation, maybe he considers it then. Maybe he goes to a team that he could compete for a championship. He's done enough, he's accomplished enough that you want to see him in the finals and at least have a chance to do that.
So you as an NBA fan, you want Melo to waive his no-trade clause, I assume.
But
you'd like to see him either pair up with a Chris Paul in LA or even a LeBron in Cleveland or wherever with more talent at least.
I'd rather see him do better in his current situation because they have talent. And to me, there should be better leadership. No one is without blame in this scenario, but Carmelo Anthony is part of that. Yeah. This entire roster with, you know, Derrick Rose saying that Jeff Hornacek has got to get us more motivated, LeBron saying that, you know, we got to run more of the pick and roll, and Courtney Lee coming out with Dumb and Dumber photos. Everybody's got an opinion, but nobody really wants to drop and get on their knees and fight for and scrap for basketballs. That's my problem, and I think Carmelo Anthony could be that leader. He's just not.